on YouTube you can play music if it's DRM, you know, their music, but on Facebook because they're uptight.
Yeah.
So what we've been using is the bullfrogs. That's why that one's on a tripod. So we put that one where you're sitting on YouTube, and we play music for an intro while we're waiting for everyone to come live. So we want to have two so that we can have even more fun. We get to do the whole dual pairing thing. I know, we just got the other one in, so. I have the app on my phone. I've been running the app on my phone. Yep, double kick. We're going, what's up, what's up? How's everyone doing on this glorious Monday? So
what's up,
just
David?
real quick, if you're trying to, hey Ada, what's going on? Try not to get too captivated with that part of the screen there. You can kind of glance at it.
Glaze.
Like, you know, it's like we got Norway in the house. Johnny Riviera is a lot of regulars. They're going to publish. Jeff Smith, what's up,
Smith.
Jeff?
Yep.
That's you know Jeff Smith.
Yes.
Okay, good. I know you know. Anyways.
He's a good guy, but don't tell him I said that.
Oh, God.
Wait
no.
a second. This is live.
Yeah, exactly. So, for those of you just tuning in, let's make sure we turn the volume down on our phone, John. Not this John, that John. We have a whole peanut gallery over here of making sure that this John, we have two Johns. We actually have three. Did you turn off the air compressor and the John that's here?
Okay.
The other John. Check that John.
Porta John?
The Porta John.
I was the Porta John.
Maryland's in the house with Ada, Boston, California. Oh, there you go. Steve Miller. We were just listening to him today. So anyways, John.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here.
And I'm from what I hear, what you were telling me earlier, getting here today was just lots of fun.
Yeah, I actually started out about 5:30 this morning.
Which I could see.
Yeah, with all the snow in Oklahoma. Yeah,
now,
those people don't drive good on dry pavement.
So here's the thing. When I was there, Lori was telling me, say hi, Lori.
I did.
No, say hi. Say hi. Audibly say hi. Okay, so she's here. Anyways, Lori was telling me how you guys really don't get a lot of snow.
Not a whole lot. We've had years that's never been below freezing.
And this year, apparently, you're getting...
We already broke that.
That sucks.
It was 18 when I went to breakfast Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Well, our number was totally the opposite.
81?
81.
James.
So in case you guys are unfamiliar, he's from Oklahoma, which is where Kicker's headquarters is. So
James
today,
is from Oklahoma.
There you go. Today we're going to talk a little bit about you.
Hi, Jason.
Your life. This is your life, John.
This crazy life that I've had.
So for those of you that aren't aware, John Myers John, tell us, let's just get to it. What do you do for Kicker?
I'm the global trainer and the media audio analyst. I have dual duties now.
Okay, so global trainer is pretty self-explanatory.
Yep.
It sounds really cool.
Yep, when people ask, who do you train? I say, the planet.
Planet.
So when we populate the moon with audio, that'll be my territory as well. So then I'll be the interglobal trainer.
That is nice.
In another place it's probably cold right now. What's up from Michigan? Hi, Jason, what's up? You ever been to Stereo Kings?
Yes.
So Fro's house is Jason from Stereo Kings.
Yep.
Um,
Ada from Absolute Electronics.
So the other thing that you said, what is that?
My duty now, it's officially in writing.
Okay.
For the past probably 14 years, I've been working with a lot of the TV shows and the car builders.
Yes.
It's now officially part of my job description. So now I get to do twice as much work for the same amount of pay.
So for this,
and have twice as much fun.
So the most popular show you've been on was
probably Overhauling.
Overhauling, that's right. So if you guys are like, man, I know I've seen what, man,
An ugly mug.
He was on Over. How many seasons were you on Overhauling?
I think I did 8.
8 seasons, because it was only on for
8 episodes.
You only did 8.
Yeah, there was 5 seasons, so
5 seasons, 8 episodes. So that's cool.
It was a lot of fun. I met people there that I will be friends with forever.
Yeah, well, that's what we were talking about when I was over there at the headquarters. Was, you know, you took the approach which I would take. I'm not going to sit in my hotel room just because I don't need to be there. If I can be there, I'm going to be there.
Yep, and learn, because you've got the best people in the industry working on the vehicles.
Yeah.
So you meet a lot of good friends, and you learn a lot of very, very valuable, skills.
Yeah, which is extremely cool.
Yeah, especially in this business, you have to be pretty much everything.
We won't even get into that. Yeah, with Chip Foose, that's who's on the show. Does Kicker publish volume displacement and their subs connect? Okay, so, yes, That's the answer to that. Now, you have this wonderful Kicker University website. Do you know what it is?
Our tech site?
Yes.
Yep.
What is it?
That is a site where you can go get all kinds of information. You can get specifications, there's videos, there's white papers.
There's everything. We've actually talked about this on the show a couple times.
A lot of people don't notice it because they actually have to scroll up on the main page.
Yeah, so go to Kicker, go to the regular Kicker, kicker.com, and then it's under, do you remember the tab that's under? Do you remember the tab that it's under?
It's tech.
Is it tech?
Yep, Kicker Tech.
Kicker Tech.
Yeah,
Yep.
Kicker Tech.
So, and you can go there, and they have a ton of stuff. It's not all just Kicker. It's really cool. So definitely check that out if you have time. But let's get back to you. When did you start? How did you start? What were you doing? How did you come into this?
You know,
I have a lot of questions.
all at once.
Let's start at day one, man.
Day one. Well, I came out of the womb and picked up a speaker. No, I always really liked speakers when I was little, and I don't know why. I just would find speakers, trash and, out by the road, and I'd take them back and start disassembling them and putting the speakers in different places in the room and figured out they sound different when I move it from here to here, and never really knew why. And then I got so excited about speakers, literally, when I was 11 in junior high wood shop.
Okay.
I built my first set of speakers at 11 in junior high wood shop, which were the size of a washing machine and dryer.
Wow.
They loved you.
They were 36 inches tall, 28 inches wide, and 20 inches deep.
Holy God.
Built with Radio Shack components.
What is that?
Who are they?
Somebody this week was actually asking me about that. I can't remember what we were these RCAs we got in. And the guy was like, there was this company called a Radio Shack that used to sell those things. And I was like,
Realistic was the brand.
What is this that you were talking about? Did you have the cool passive crossovers that they used to sell?
Of course.
Yeah, actually.
15-inch woofers. We had the soft dome square mid-range and the big bullet super tweeters.
I actually pulled a set of those crossovers out of a car earlier this year, I think. I still have them in the box. I was like,
awesome.
I gotta keep these. Because I used to buy those all the time because I used to blow the caps off of the boards. I don't know why. Didn't know anything about that. All right, so you develop a love for audio, we'll say. When did the car come into it?
Really, the first install I can remember doing is, I remember my neighbor was working on his 66 Buick Electra, and he had a Craco radio.
Chris Bennett just chimed in and says, realistic 5-band EQ booster. Those
Yeah.
were the bomb!
I had the Metro Sound 5-band EQ. The GE50 was the model number. But anyway, back to you. The 66 Buick. He was out there cussing and swearing, and I went out, looked at it, and he's like, I can't get this blank radio to work. I don't know what our rating is if we're PG.
G.
Okay,
we're
G
hard,
rating. Yep.
like
blank
PG.
radio to work.
Yeah.
So
What's up, Bill?
I looked at it, and it's like, it's 5 wires. How tough can it be? Back then, everything was grounded to the body, so you had a power wire and 4 speaker wires.
Yeah.
Made it work. He handed me $20. I'm 13 years old, just made $20, and I'm like, this is awesome. That's literally how it started, and then later on, a few months later, I actually got a job working at a place on the weekend. People would come in, buy speakers, and I'd put them in, or during the week, since I was going to school, they'd bring it to my parents' house after school, and I'd do it in the driveway.
Jobs.
Yep, side jobs at 13.
Awesome.
And at 16, I got hired to do my first retail sales for car audio electronics, and have been doing it ever since.
Now, is Kicker the first company you've worked for?
No, actually, I worked for Kenwood for 3.5 years prior to this.
I was going to say that was my first EQ. Was the little half-tin Kenwood EQ.
Yeah, that was the 447 was the part number on that one. I had one of those too.
So excited to get one of those, and I don't remember why.
Because it was cool. It had lights.
Oh, dude, anything with lights.
Exactly.
I mean, I had neon in my car.
Exactly.
Let's burn the car down. Let's put real neon in there.
So I had my own shop from 88 to 92. And then I went and managed another electronics department and found out Kenwood was hiring, so put in an application, they hired me.
What'd you do for them?
I was the trainer also, 12-year-old trainer.
Okay, so you just stumbled right into training.
Yeah, it was weird. Kenwood was hired, I thought it'd be cool to work for manufacturing. Like, yeah, we need a trainer. So the first thing they did, they took me to Mobiltel in Chicago.
Okay.
They had 9 stores, and they said, basically, you're going to tell them everything about all these products. Go.
You bet, I'm on that.
It's like, okay.
Could you give me 5? And does anybody have a brochure?
Yeah, and some notes stuff.
Everyone had an EQ. Oh, EQs
Yeah.
were the best.
What's that, Dan?
What was it? Before Pack Radio Shack was the installer's best friend.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, well, not to trip down the Radio Shack too much. Did you have the free battery card? So every month
No,
you could go get the free battery.
I didn't do that.
So they had a card every month.
Yep.
You could go in and get a free battery. Okay,
Oh, wow.
so every month I'd go in and get a AA battery, so that eventually I could get enough for my RC car. So it took like 6 months to get 6 free batteries. But hey, man, I was determined.
Great way to get into the store.
Yeah, exactly. They're just like, oh, you're here for the kids for the free battery. Great. Hey guys from Oklahoma. All right, so we stumble into. Okay, so how did we get into Kicker? What was who knocked on your door?
Well, actually, this is a really, really weird story. I didn't actually.
And that's why we're asking, because we like really, really weird stories.
So I actually applied when I sold my stereo shop in '92.
Okay.
And never heard anything back.
Right.
And applied to several other places, and that's when I ended up going to manage a little electronics department in a company called Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Awesome. Totally picked a
helped
path
build-
and ran with it.
Yep, helped build the Mega Mart, had fun with that, then went to work for Kenwood, and living in Chicago, working for Kenwood, I went broke.
Uh-huh.
I mean, literally 2 months down the line, I was going to be completely bankrupt.
Because you were paying to work there.
Yeah, pretty much. I was
Yeah.
making, can we say numbers?
Yeah.
I was making $1,350 a month
Okay.
on salary.
Wow.
My rent, car payment, and car insurance were $1,330 a month.
Well, at least they were paying for everything as far as like travel went.
But I didn't. That's not food. That's not
No,
cell
no.
phone. That's clothes. So
No.
yeah, it got a little crazy. So
We've all been there.
I quit working for Kenwood after 3.5 years.
You went to work to McDonald's? So you
I actually
could
went to
make
work
money?
for something similar, the Circuit City.
Oh.
Okay.
So I went to manage a Circuit City.
Okay.
In Elmwood Park, Illinois, which is just to the west of downtown.
All right.
And all
Let's
of a
back
sudden-
up before we let's pause there for a second. Where are you from?
I actually grew up in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Okay, so Nebraska, and you ended up
In Chicago.
in Chicago.
And then I ended up in Oklahoma.
So we're back in '90 when you had your store.
Yep.
Where was that at?
Lincoln, Nebraska.
Lincoln, Nebraska. What was the name of the store?
Mobile Audio Design.
And that was open until.
It's still open.
Oh, you sold it.
Yeah, it's still there.
So Nebraska. Anyone from Nebraska?
Chime in.
Chime in. Yikes. Okay, so now we're broke. We're working at a Circuit City.
Yep, we quit Kenwood. We go to work for Circuit City. And when I worked for Kenwood,
Deuces.
I had no time off. In fact, my last run was 131 days in a row without a day off.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
We
day off,
have-
you know.
We get holidays, weekends. We didn't even work today because it was a Monday. Nothing but time off.
So, yeah, I remember owning the store. You only had to work half the day, only 12 hours,
Oh yeah, and then you
7
golfed.
days a week.
You golfed
Exactly.
in the boat. Oh, you didn't see my boat, John. You should see my boat.
So
Anyways,
I'm working for Circuit,
yes.
and I'm an S&I manager, sales and installation manager.
Okay.
And basically, they gave me 2 days off a week, and a morning and an evening. I lived in Chicago 3.5 years. I was gone all the time. I didn't have any friends. I didn't know what to do.
Right.
So I went to one of my old Kenwood dealers, and he was building a demo vehicle.
Right.
He said, I need some help with this. What will you give me for $400? So I'll give you 40 hours. $10 an hour.
Yeah.
Extra income, something to do. No
Yeah.
problem. So it's all Sony and it's all kicker gear, and I never, ever sold kicker gear retail.
Okay.
To this day, literally, I've never sold it retail directly. So I get on the phone, I call up Dan Jobin, which was the director of the tech department, and Lori was working there at the time too in the
Yeah.
tech
What was
department.
she was like? Oh, she was working in the tech department.
She was awesome and still is.
She's
So-
tech. See, I told you, women know car audio.
Absolutely.
They're
So
the best.
I
Right,
start
Haley?
asking Dan questions, and Dan's like, "You sound like you know what you're doing. You're asking the right questions. So where do you work?" I said, "Well, I'm a
Circuit
manager
City.
for Circuit City," and I hear this under his breath, "Circuit City."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I was a trainer for Kenwood, but I, took this job because I want to get out of
Yep.
Oklahoma, or out of
Whoa, that was neat.
Chicago. Yeah, that was a nice blackout.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, that was
So
weird.
I
Okay.
called up Dan. I was asking, the enclosure design, crossover points, crossover types. And,
Okay.
And he's like, you don't work for Jim Menard, which was the owner of Sound Advantage that I was
Right.
working for. I said, well, no, I work for Kenwood as a trainer. I'm just doing this for a little extra money. And, the reason I did this was because Circuit was going to give me a store anywhere around the country that I wanted.
Okay.
So I took the job and worked there for 3 months and started working on the show vehicle. And Dan said, we got an opening for a technical trainer. Would you be interested in coming out for an interview? Like, heck yes, I would. And I applied there in 92, and this is 96. So,
Did you go, I still have a resume on file. I'm
and
sure
the funny
somewhere.
thing is, didn't you pull it up, Lori? Someone found my resume from 92.
Probably so, yeah.
They still had it 4 years later. But Dan says, I'd like you to come out to Oklahoma for an interview.
Right.
So I said, sure, when? He said, well, when's your next day off? This was Thursday. I said, Tuesday.
Okay.
He overnighted airline tickets.
Really?
They were there literally Friday.
Okay.
So flew out there.
Were you
and-
married yet? Or
No.
Okay, so,
Nope.
all right.
Single guy, flying around the country.
Yep.
And actually, when I worked for Kenwood, I did cover 8 states. I trained every dealer. That's why I was never home.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I worked 131 days in a row.
Yeah.
But it's,
Well, yeah, but they were also paying for your food, so you probably wanted to work.
yeah, didn't mind.
It's like, I'm on the road today. I can eat.
Yep. Living in a hotel
Yes!
every night. So he ended up picking me up at the airport, and from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Stillwater, which is, 60 miles?
Yeah.
He got lost. We ended up way south of Stillwater.
Didn't he live there?
Yeah.
How the hell did he get lost?
Okay, so when you come out of the Tulsa airport,
Yes.
you have to turn left before you can go right to where you really need to be.
Yeah.
It's very confusing. I've done it a couple of times.
It
Well,
happens.
I can just tell you, flying into your nice little town there is
That's
quite the
different.
experience. It's
That's-
like cow, ooh, really big house, cow, another cow,
Armadillo.
ooh, dirt road, can't see the armadillos.
Yeah, not
Little
this time of
small
year.
at that elevation. Lots
got
of
some big ones.
Lots of green, and I'm thinking of you guys because I'm like, they do this a lot. I'm sure by now they're just like, I live here. I'm glad there's buildings around where we live because you go left, right, 5 miles, there ain't nothing.
Pretty much.
I still remember. So I didn't tell you this. Tangent time. Story with Dean. Everyone. So. I'm in the van with those guys. Remember when I took the van trip with them?
Yeah.
And I was talking about running in the mornings. And I was like, the first morning I went running, I was like, I was kind of nervous because it's like, it's dark. I'm going to go running in some strange town. And I'm telling them this, and they're all laughing at me going, dude, we've had like one murder here in a year, and they were run over by a car. And it's like people just leave their doors unlocked. I mean, you got nothing to worry about. And he's telling me the story about how he armed his car in the supermarket parking lot.
Yeah.
And they all just kind of looked
People
at him
stopped,
like,
looked at me like, what the heck
Really,
are you
dude?
doing?
Really?
You don't trust us?
And of course,
From Chicago. Come on.
I'm running up the streets, and there's like trees and stuff, and I'm just like, oh God, someone's gonna jump out and grab me. It's dark. It's like 6 in the morning, and they're just chuckling it up. I was like, oh, great.
It's a nice, quiet little place.
No, it was beautiful. I mean, it was awesome. Okay, so you fly down here, you get lost, you finally make it back to the office.
We get to the company, and basically I was introduced to a whole bunch of people. We told a bunch of stories. We had lunch, and Dan looked at his watch and said, I guess it's time to go back to the airport.
Awesome.
So as we're driving, he says, I suppose you're wondering what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this is not like any job interview I've ever been on or expected. And Dan told me, he said, I was told last night by Charlie Schultz, when you get off the plane, if you have a heartbeat, give him the job. So Dan said, I expected to hire you the minute you got off the plane. But Dan said, I checked my voicemail this morning, and my voicemail tells me that someone else has already hired somebody else for the position,
Awesome.
which wasn't the head of that department either.
No, it's just, I got you a job, bro.
So Dan's like, I want to hire you, but I'm told we hired this other person.
Okay.
who is still working for the company too. If any of you guys know Kip Litzy, so
Kip.
I gave
Everybody knows Kip.
I gave him a hard time for almost costing me my job. And
Kip
he
and
feels
Dave.
So bad. Exactly.
Chip and Dale.
So he said, I don't know what we're going to do. So about 2 weeks later, he called me up. And he says, when can you get here? We're hiring you both.
Awesome.
So that's how I ended up
And
there.
you guys went in two totally different directions.
Yeah, we started out doing the exact same thing. Building the show vehicles, answering the tech calls, and doing trainings.
That's awesome. And he does what he does. And
He's the marketing side, and I
Yeah.
guess technically we're all in marketing.
Oh yeah, one way or the other. You're all marketing something. All right, so the question is, what is 12 Volt for a Cause?
Yes.
It's a GoFundMe. We're going to tell you more about it in a show, not this show, but we wanted to at least get you guys
This
clued
week.
into what it
Yeah.
is. We're going to have a whole show just on that where we'll tell you more about it. It's not with us. It's something we're involved in or trying to get you guys
Help.
into to help. It's for kids with cancer, and it's they're trying to raise $50,000 for St. Jude's All Children's Hospital.
Yep.
I got that right? Okay.
Mhm.
So go ahead, check it out, donate. There's going to be perks and benefits and fun stuff like that. We'll talk about it more on a show on its own. We just want to get you guys aware to head over to the GoFundMe /12V-4-A-cause and donate. You can also find out more information there if you don't feel like waiting for our show. Okay, so you got the job, and now you travel all over the world.
Yep,
You get to go on TV. You get to meet cool people like Chip Foose.
indeed.
Eh,
You're cool, admit it.
Haley. Crickets.
Yeah, don't
Anyways. What would you guys recommend as a better subwoofer? Well, it depends what you have now. You know?
We can have
I
a
mean,
reference to start with.
Yeah. I mean, so, all right. Speaking of marketing, this is the chart for. Remember these when we were there, and I was like, "These are ridiculous," and I pointed that this was the only one that I. Okay, this is why. So this was a chart that you guys made for all the woofers that you guys carried because I was sitting there one day on the website and I was like, "Oh my god! I thought it was just like comps and."
There might be a few more to add to that if you really think about
We're
it.
not going to think about
No.
that. Not yet.
My brain hurts.
But yeah, so it was like as soon as this came out, I was like, I'm stealing this because there's too many of these for me to forget and remember what all these things are. So lots of woofers you guys make. Thanks, Sue, for posting that. So if you guys need a link to that, check out the GoFundMe. Susan just posted that up on there. I just saw that sign. LOL. So Adam's been staring at the show the whole time, and he just noticed that you have that sign on your chest.
It happens.
And it was his idea!
It's been kind of quiet over here.
Yeah.
What do you guys recommend as a better subwoofer? Punch P3 Shallows mount or a Kicker Comp RT? Well, it's a known fact in this show. We've said it many, many times that our favorite shallow mount subwoofer, if he wasn't here, we'd still say the same thing. Is what,
Yeah.
Fernando?
The Comp RT.
That's right. It's
Yeah.
my favorite shallow mount
It
subwoofer.
was an awesome subwoofer.
And it thankfully destroyed its predecessor.
The VT.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So-
Yeah, totally different speaker.
Oh yeah, one
Completely
actually
from the
sounds
ground.
good, and one was, so that was actually when we were there. I was talking with Speaker Aaron, and
Aaron Surratt.
yeah, and everyone was out of the room. It was just him and I, and I said we were talking about how Steve approves speakers and all that, and I said so what happened to the CVT? Was he drunk that day? Did he call in sick? Did he have a head cold? And he's just kind of looking at me like, stop. And I was like, because we all know that speaker just was not. And he goes, just let it go.
Yeah, for the time, it absolutely stomped its competition, though. The other shallow mounts that were out there.
I would disagree because I really think the Pioneer Prime IB Flat was a really good sounding speaker. It actually had good bass. That woofer sounded good in about 6 months. And we know that because we actually had a guy come back
After
a
it
year and a
got
half
broke in?
later. Yes, because we did. We had a guy come back about a year and a half later for us to do something, and we were playing it, and we're like, thanks, this guy got in here for subwoofers. These sound awesome. And we went back and we flipped up the box, and we're like,
I can't believe his ass. Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, these are CVTs.
Yep.
And it was like, John was right, not you, the other John. John's like, these things sound good, damn it. And we were like, no, they don't.
And
A year and a
Scott-
half, they sound amazing.
Scott, I do have a system in my car. It's all Q class.
We're gonna talk about that.
Yep.
So don't.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna talk about because naturally, we want to talk about that. You've built a lot of cars for Kicker. You've done a lot of things, a lot of shows for Kicker. Let's talk about product for a couple minutes. Not necessarily. Let's talk about over the years because you've been. How long have you been working for Kicker? Let's start with that.
22 years.
So you have 22 years of Kicker experience. Out of that 22 years, what was your favorite that probably doesn't exist anymore? What was your favorite product that you guys that you were either part of, you liked, you were like, yes, you got,
In those 20, yeah.
There's actually been so many over the years. I mean,
All right, well let's run through a couple of them.
obviously the Solo X woofers were really cool.
The original Solo X?
Yes, the original ones with the replaceable cones. And
Okay. Yep.
SPL, that was a neat product.
I put an 18 in the Jeep Wrangler.
Nice.
Single door.
2-door or 4-wheel drive?
Two door.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
That ought to rattle some teeth.
Oh, it was insane.
But even, back with our first amplifiers with the modules that plugged in, I mean, it was really cutting edge and back before people were putting crossovers
All
in
those side
amplifiers.
modules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I
So
remember those.
that was kind of cool. And, when I first started there, we introduced the ZR amplifiers, which was the third series of amplifiers that the Kicker had.
Okay.
So, like I said, there's depending on the category, there's a lot of really cool stuff out there, that we've done, and it's really hard to narrow it down.
Well, naturally. Okay, well then let's go the other direction. This will be easy. What products did you not like as much?
Not like as much. Well, actually, there was a product not long after I started called the XPL woofer,
Okay.
which there was two different versions. There was one the initial one, which had the XPL in kind of like a printed script with ribs that went concentrically around the center, that were advertised as an efficient woofer. So they were
Okay.
a lot more efficient, which,
Right.
if you guys know anything about speaker design, if it's efficient, it's not going to have what?
Base.
Bass.
Right, it's
Exactly.
got a small magnet.
So people assumed it was going to have twice the output with all the bass as the competition woofer at the time, and it didn't. It was not designed for that. It was designed for a small amplifier.
Gotcha.
So it was really a marketing fail more than anything, because it was.
So is
not-
that almost like the predecessor to like a comp?
No, it's hard to say. It was just an efficient woofer.
Okay.
It was kind of in its own kind of category, and we realized from that point on, what is Kicker known for?
Loud,
And
boomy.
exactly, bass.
Yes, bass.
So if we make a speaker that doesn't have bass, that, like I say, that.
kind of defeats the point.
So we did redesign that speaker, and it came out with big X in the cone, and it was a cast basket. And that truly was a step up from the comp woofer. More power handling, more output.
All right, I really like Mark's questions there. It says, if you were on a build but could only choose one task like building enclosure or wiring, what would you choose? So we'll come back to the product thing, but I really like his question.
It's
so,
tough. I would probably say enclosure, because I've been building speakers for.
So you like the fab part
42
more
years.
so than the wiring and
Yep.
the tune and all that other garbage?
Wiring can be a necessary evil, but I'm pretty particular with. I like the wiring nice and clean and done right, but I don't want to see it.
Okay.
So, and
Which you don't see in your car.
yeah,
It's just
you see
straight
no
up
wiring.
equipment.
In fact, on one of the builds that I did for overhauling the CNN Hummer, we inverted the 18-inch Solo X woofers, and I stressed about the wires.
Ooh, yeah. I know.
Because the wires are going to be visible. How am I going to do this? How am I going to make it look nice?
Right.
And about 3 o'clock in the morning, it just hit me. It says, solid wire. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Your houses use solid wire that's 60 hertz AC.
Yeah.
Kind of the frequency. Why can't we use solid wire?
You can.
So I used 1/4-inch aluminum dowel. Bent
Okay.
it around paint cans to get the radius to make
Yep.
them look nice.
Yep.
Had to drill the holes at the terminals out just a little bit. to get
Just a
the quarter-
tad.
But hey, it worked.
Yeah.
And then my dilemma was, how do you connect the wires to 1/4-inch aluminum rod? So I thought, well, that's about the size of a yellow butt connector, right?
Okay.
So why don't I just drill a hole in the end of the aluminum rod, put the wire in it, and crimp that?
Okay. That's not where I thought you were going to go,
Yeah.
but I like that idea just as good.
So
See, I was thinking smash it flat, drill a hole, make a ring terminal out of
Yep,
it.
and
That was probably on your mind too.
Yeah,
I like
it's a
that idea way
a couple
easier.
options. It's just something different, kind of fun.
No, that was a good option. I like because I know the one thing you were going to say is you didn't solder it.
No, Yeah, that's one thing you can't do with aluminum.
Dude,
Just so you guys know.
I want to learn how to fab. Never. You're the worst. You'll never learn how to fab. No, not gonna happen.
No, the whole thing with the fab in a box is it's all about being creative. I mean,
Oh yeah. Well, let's talk about your Mustang for a little bit. So you have a what year?
2011.
Blue.
Yep, grabber blue.
Very blue Mustang.
Nice.
Which actually, if you guys go back and check the video, the tour that I did, it's in the video at some point before we see you talk about something. It's his Mustang that's in the shot. What's in it?
We have got 2 Q-Class L710s
Yep.
with an IQ 1001 to each one.
Okay.
So 1,000 watts per 10. I'm a big fan of huge power.
Well, you gotta have power. Power
Yep.
is wonderful.
Yeah,
You can always turn it down.
Exactly.
You can't turn it up.
And each one is in a sealed enclosure, fiberglassed into the floor.
You're
Okay.
telling two of them down
Yep.
here says hi.
Nice.
Okay, so what? No, I'm sorry. Fiberglass.
So the whole spare tire well has been divided in half, so it's fiberglassed
Okay.
with 1001 on each of the 10s.
Yep.
I've got 8-inch comp RTs in the front doors.
Okay.
I've got QSS 654s in the front doors,
Yep.
coaxially mounted, and I have another set of QS tweeters in the pillars,
You like it bright.
and then I have another set of QS in the rear deck for rear fill, which I never turn on.
Okay, come on. All right, let's not talk about rear fill.
Yeah.
Whoa. No
Yeah.
rear fill, right, John?
Yep.
No rear fill.
I don't have it, but you have to have it.
You don't have it? What the heck? She's got both. She doesn't count.
I have a VSS system in my truck.
And your Tahoe?
Uh-huh.
You did?
Yeah.
It
Never
sounded like
turned it
my
on
ride
for
was
me.
coming.
Nice.
Right in there talking.
I know, I'm
You know.
joking. I didn't realize you had that in there. Oh,
So
dang.
the system gets kind
Well,
of
it's got
complicated
bass. Okay, yes it does.
because I've got 4 amplifiers that are 1,000 watts. The other 2 amps are 5-channel.
Okay.
So I've got 2 mono running the subs, and I have 2 5-channel running the rest of the speakers. So being a fan of, big power,
Yeah.
I took the IQ 1005s, I bridged the first one to 3 channels.
Okay.
So the 300 per channel is now running the QSS in the doors,
Yep.
and the subsection is running 1 mid-bass.
That's what I was hoping you were going to
Yep.
say.
The other 5-channel is running the tweeters and the pillars, which are high frequency only. They're crossed over at 12K and up.
Oh gosh, they're really not doing anything.
They're not, and it's kind of what I call almost psychoacoustics,
Yeah.
because it's such a high frequency, your ears don't audibly pick it up, but your brain knows it's there, so that's how you judge your height. It actually brings the sound stage up.
Yeah. Well, that was my fear, but now that makes sense.
Yep, and something else that, you got speakers in the pillars. If you see something, there should be something coming out of it, right?
In theory.
So that's when your brain said, "Oh, I see a speaker." That's where the
Right.
sound's coming from.
Well, that's why when we do the time correction, we always tune it for the grill in the center of the dash that there's no speaker in, so that they go, "Oh, you put a speaker in my center channel." And I go, "No, we didn't." And they go, "Really?" And then you got the head up in the
Yeah.
windshield like this.
Putting the magazine over
Sorry
the
for the
top.
bald spot show there, guys, but
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, no, there's nothing there. It's look, now it's coming out of my hand. Oh, it's magical. So what are you using for a source unit?
Factory head unit.
Okay, hey, all
So-
right. So, because the Q class all have DSPs built into them.
Yep.
Now, are you using the Bluetooth add-on DSP programmer or whatever
Well,
that is?
I've got the IQI in the vehicle.
Okay.
That I can use it to tune the vehicle, and with that piece, you can do hands-free calling and stream music directly into it.
Okay.
Nice.
But I just use the Bluetooth and the radio. I mean,
Well, yeah, it's way easier.
but it's always nice to have the ability. If I decide I want to change something on the fly, I just pull out the iPad. I can pull it up and change a crossover point or an output level, and it's done. That
Now,
way.
the cool thing about the way you did it with those amplifiers, which is the fact that each one of them has their own DSP built into it.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about, which is different because most people approach it the other way. They have, a big 10 channel or big 8 channel DSP, and they have to worry about having enough channels to do things. In your case, those amplifiers have their own DSPs built into them, so that allows you to do whatever you want with them.
Exactly.
So that's actually kind of cool.
They're their own entity, but yet you can adjust them all at the same time with the software.
Yeah, so that's pretty
Okay,
neat.
That's nice.
That's different. And of course, it's all blue.
Yeah.
More blue.
And
So
blue LEDs and white LEDs.
I don't remember. Do you have grills on the speakers and the doors, or no?
Yeah, actually, on the 8-inch, I remade the factory grills.
That was because I remember there was something about those that I was like,
I'm really a a stickler for making the theme carry through.
James.
I was looking at Mark where he says rear fill. I'm going to tag Andy now.
Yeah. No,
So-
but James, glad you are
It's snowing,
there.
raining near
Yeah.
the headquarters.
Oh, jeez.
So, you know that on the Mustangs, there's plastic grills on the 8-inch and the doors on that shaker. They're kind of ugly.
Right.
So
Yes.
the problem is those grills are actually
Part of
snapped to the
speakers.
speaker.
Yes, we know. Yeah, it's a lot
So
of fun.
it was a challenge to actually pull that ring off, replace the speaker in the door with a Comp RT,
Right. I've done it.
and then I
Not pulled
repressed.
the thing off. I just put the speaker in the door. They weren't paying for all that nonsense you're
Yeah,
talking about.
that was probably almost the most work was getting the grills
yeah,
to fit.
Yeah.
So yeah, we actually had to take L7 grills, so it's the same grill pattern as the L7s in the trunk, and I repressed those into the round grills for the RTs.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, wow.
And all of the gauges on the car from the factory have chrome around every gauge. So every amplifier has chrome rings, so chrome plated aluminum around
Yeah.
each amplifier. So it kind of ties it all together. And the same material that's in the car is in the trunk.
Yeah.
So-
It looks really nice. I mean, it was definitely like everyone, I know when we were there, everyone just kind of like walked over to it and you're like, yes, it's mine.
Yeah, it's kind of a refreshed idea going now
Same.
because I've had it for 4 years. I'm getting itchy to get back in there.
Oh, yeah, tear it all apart.
Change some stuff.
Make sure you hook some speakers up backwards.
Oh yeah. But you know, with the Q class, you can switch that just a touch of a button.
Yeah, it's that other thing you can't. So the question was that, did you ever compete? Have you
No.
ever competed? Never
Never.
competed. Have you ever judged?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm still a certified IASCA judge,
Okay.
Nice.
and I will tell you guys that I will judge 2 categories, and the third one I refuse.
What's the first two?
I will judge install and RTA.
Okay.
I will not judge sound quality because it's very subjective.
Oh, totally.
So, and I just, like I say, the reason I do not like to judge, and I prefer not to,
Right.
is if you think
Because
about
it's
it.
a judgment-free zone.
Yeah, well, not only that, but as a retailer, you know, when I was, you know, doing retail for
Yeah.
14 years, you know, someone comes in and you want to compliment, you know, tell them everything.
Yeah, yeah,
whether you like it
yeah,
or not,
job.
you got to tell them, hey, you know, that's really cool. And you're
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
No.
That's
Yes,
not
that subwoofer in the 8-gallon bucket is quite ingenious. Way to go.
So it's just, I always had that stigma that, you know, these people work very hard if they did the work themselves, not just write out a check. That never impressed me.
Okay.
You know, and you're in there telling them everything they did wrong. So
no one
I,
likes that.
like I say, I try to stay away from that as much as possible. I have judged before, but it's been very cut and dried. I remember very specifically in Chicago, I had a competitor that was very, very angry with me
Oh, I'm sure.
because he was actually doing quite well in his class. And when I judged his car, I took a point off for one thing.
What was that?
It was in I think it was a 94 Grand Prix Pontiac GM product.
Yep.
So, you know, they always have too many colors of the same, you know, there's shades of the same color.
Yeah.
So he built some very nice pods on the doors. They look great. But they didn't match anything
See you,
on the
Jason.
door.
See you, Jason.
Take care.
They didn't match anything?
No, they didn't match anything on the door.
Oh.
So when you open the door, here's this dark gray pod with all these other lighter shades of gray.
Yeah.
So I took a point off that they didn't match, and he got in my face. I specifically dyed them to match the color of this part of the dash. And my argument was, when you open the door, you see the door.
Yeah.
It's one entity. And it was kind of funny after all the colorful words he used and all the threats. The next show, it matched the vinyl of the door.
Don't want to lose a point, man.
Points are very hard to come by when you get up into the pro categories.
So, this was another good one too, and I only mention it because Mopar Dwayne there. I only mention this because in the video I walked past pallets and pallets of these Mopar speakers that you guys sell, and the question is there a difference between the retail speakers and the Mopar speakers? And I don't know if you want to comment on this.
Oh, I can.
Then by all means, is there a difference between the Mopar and the
The Mopar speakers were actually a hybrid of our production line,
Yes,
of the KS line.
correct.
So just a different basket and different terminal, but the same basic construction. We did not build a speaker like a lot of companies do. They basically dumbify the speaker,
Yeah.
tone it down, and put your name on it. That's not what we're
No.
about. So, no, they're basically KS speakers.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I didn't realize you guys actually still made those because it's an older version of the KS.
It works.
Oh, it works great. Well, what was funny is when Lori and I were walking through the warehouse and going, I just put a set of these in a car the other day. She's like, where'd you get them from? And I was like, I don't know, guy got them on the internet, man. It wasn't me, I swear. You know, and I was like, I thought these were like old. She's like, no, we just, these work, they buy them, we keep making them, you know, and it's like.
We got a pretty exclusive contract with Chrysler.
Yeah.
You can buy them in the Mopar Performance Catalog or Mopar Parts retailers. So we do the same thing with Shelby.
Yeah?
The older Mustangs.
Yeah.
From 2004 to 2013. You can buy a whole kicker system from Shelby, which is the 8-inch, the 6x8, the amplifiers, the sub, the enclosure.
Wow.
But you can't buy it from us.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's a contract we have, and that's to keep the suppliers happy and keep those relationships.
I feel a lot of manufacturers, when you make the deal with the devil, you always walk into that. It's like, we want to develop this, we could develop this, but right now we can't develop that. And then you have to decide what would making that development make more sense. Is the aftermarket going to bring in what these guys are bringing in?
Right.
And if they're not, then we'll just kind of ride out what we have and go from there.
It's a lot of weighing of both corners. You know?
Yeah. Yep. Go
sorry,
ahead.
My bad.
No, go
just
ahead.
jump right in
say,
here.
Jump in.
What kicker sub has the most X-Max besides the Solo X?
It's kind of interesting you say that because the Solo X did not have a lot of X-Max.
Really?
And,
Well, I mean, it was hard as a rock, so I mean, you could literally dance on the cone.
and going back to my training,
Dancing the Devil in the Pale Moonlight. Name the movie. Okay, go ahead.
the true depth.
Would you want to use the cutaway to explain X-Max?
I could. Is it behind me?
Yeah, hold on. Can you grab that, Fernando?
So X-Max is one of those terms that, I mean, if we want to rant and rave,
No, we don't.
How much time?
No, we don't. We want to keep it simple.
It's actually, this is not a cutaway.
Oh no, it is. Well, it's not a cutaway.
It's a
but
take-apart.
It's
It's not a cutaway.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I wish it was a cutaway because that would explain it much
Sorry,
better.
Lori's got that sitting outside her office.
It's like digital amplifiers.
Yeah. Oh,
There's
we won't
no
even go
such
there.
thing.
Yeah.
So X-Max is, the public perception of X-Max is cone drop.
This movement.
Yep.
Up and down.
That's actually not correct.
Okay.
X-Max is how much the voice coil protrudes above the top plate and below the top plate, which,
Well, this conveniently comes out.
yeah. So it would tell how much of this voice coil was sticking above this pole piece.
Okay.
So with a top plate, depending on how the top plate is shaped,
Right.
in a lot of our drivers, we took a top plate, which is normally a flat piece of steel. So let's take my finger and use that as the top plate. You have a certain amount of the voice coil that's above my finger.
Correct.
That's X-Max, which
Well, this
should
is
match
upside
below.
down, so it would be, yeah, you
That
got
way.
it. Yeah, okay.
It's just easier to hold it this way.
Yeah, no, I know. I just,
But
so
if we
someone's going
make that
there.
top plate thicker,
Yes,
X-Max goes away.
makes sense.
The measurement gets smaller, but now you do have a bigger area of magnetic field.
Right, for more control.
So you actually have better control and more energy, but a lower X-Max number.
So, is he confusing X-Max with maybe Excursion?
That's exactly what I think, and that's what most people do. 90%
Yeah.
of the people assume that X-Max means
You can have it,
excursion.
Fernando, if you
Yep.
don't want to. Or here up.
Don't hurt yourself with that. That's kind of
Okay.
heavy.
Okay, thank you, Haley.
And she's gonna pop a vein.
You can sit it on the floor, or sit it on the pad. Okay, all right.
Hold
you
her
don't hurt
down.
yourself. All right. So then let's readdress the question and say, Batman. Good job, Aaron. That was the answer to the question when I said you want to dance with the devil in the pale moonlight. That was what the Joker said.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways,
That's one of those.
sorry, it just kind of goes that way, you know. That's why it's a tangent. That's why the show can go for an hour. All right.
Or more.
No, we only go for an hour, specifically because then this all gets funky. So, Excursion. Let's talk about Excursion then. So, which speaker had the most Excursion? Would that have been the Solo X?
Get Solo X.
All right, so other than the Solo X, which speaker had the most Excursion?
Right now, it's the Q-Class L7.
Okay.
So,
It flops, flippity flops?
yep, the Q-Class in all the speakers and the L7s and the Comp Qs are tuned a little bit lower and smoother. They have a little
Okay.
bit heavier cone, so that gives it that deeper bass, but being a heavier cone, it's not quite as efficient.
Right.
So, and also being tuned lower, it doesn't have quite as much of the impact, but it's got the deeper, smoother bass. But they have more
So
cone
this is the
travel.
Q class.
Yeah, the one we just had here, that big heavy
Yeah.
square thing.
Yeah. Bart was telling us all about all the cool things that this was made
Really
of.
neat speakers, but it just basically comes down to, what do you like? Because it's all subjective.
So Robert just called this the squirt frisbee, and that's just because, yeah, every time I pull this off, I think the same thing. I instinctively want to throw it. I don't. It's like I can't because that John would get pissed, but I always just like catch Fernando. He's not looking.
We used to do that in trainings with the spiders. We take pieces,
Oh,
of
yeah.
and start throwing them around
Oh,
the room.
okay.
We actually gave them away one year.
Another fun story with Dean. The funnest thing to do was take, because you guys, everyone would always give out CDs, like crappy CDs with like catalogs and crap on them. So we had stacks of CDs. And what we do is we found that the Dremel, remember the barrel sander,
yeah.
would
Yep.
fit perfectly onto the CD. So then you take the CD, you'd hold it so the CD was like this,
Yeah.
and you turn it. Don't try this at home, by the way. You turn it up so the CD would spin really fast, and you have a pencil with an eraser, and you just tap it, and the CD would pop off and hover in the air like this, and then it would just kind of like start to fly, and it would hit the ground and just dust would
Explode.
fly everywhere. And in my previous employer, in the ceiling, we used to have chunks of CDs stuck into it. So
Like
you know,
stuck in the customers.
oh yeah, well you know, yeah. Well, we had a lot of fun with that.
If actually, there's a group out there called the Slow Mo Boys
Yeah.
that do
We
like
watch them. They're on YouTube.
really, really slow motion, like
Yep.
CDs exploding. It's actually
Yeah.
really cool watching them explode.
It's scariest because the CD will just
100,000
hover in
RPM.
the air like this in front of you, and you just want to reach out and touch it. Of course,
Yeah.
it's spinning really, really fast and probably cause blood.
Okay, I found something on the web for is the harbor in the air like that.
Okay.
Thank you, Google.
Thank you, Siri. Oh, she's so good. Shut up. God, that's one I need another one.
All right.
In my life. Okay.
What do you recommend for 6.5 components for a 2012 GMC Sierra?
I always recommend for 2012 6.5. I would say our QSS components or our QSC components. So the QSC are actually a permanently mounted coax, where the QSS, that's what I have in my car, are a top of the line two-way component that use. Can we talk about it a little bit?
Yes, go.
What's really cool is the tweeter on those. I love to talk about because it's a 30 millimeter tweeter that we actually have 2 patents on that tweeter because it's got a tuned enclosure and chamber just like a woofer would have
Behind it.
behind it.
Yeah.
No other tweeter in the industry has that. So it's really cool and nice and bright, and
Yeah.
you can actually turn
So
the
is
level up
it is
and
it
down.
vented pole piece?
No,
Okay, it's just to kill the back.
yeah, there is no pole piece on the tweeter,
Yeah, I don't know. You drill a hole in the back of it. I don't know. Okay.
but it does have behind the diaphragm is actually a little sealed enclosure.
Okay.
And then the mid-range cones are carbon fiber Kevlar with a foam core. They're all sandwiched together, make them extremely light, extremely strong with a cast aluminum basket. Like I say, we rate them at 150 watts. I'm running 300 to mine, have been for 4 years, and I do turn it up.
I'm just waiting for Bart to come out with a 6x9 take apart version, so you can pull the tweeter out and have that, so
Well,
we
we-
can put them in the trucks.
We do have the QSC 6x9 coax.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I want to be able to pull the tweeter out, so that I can put them in all the cool new cars that have 6x9 mid-base
Yeah.
tweeter and dash.
We actually,
6x9 components.
yeah,
Yes.
we have that in the
No,
CS
but
line.
not in that. Not in the cool. Not
Yep.
in the. It's.
Working on it. Working on it.
We'll take that under advisement.
No, trust me. When Bart was here, he was like, "So every truck on the road has a 6x9 tweeter, huh?"
When Jamie's asking, should I convert the 6x9 door speakers and the RAM to 6.5 inch? It really depends. I like the fact of using a 6x9 in the door for the mid bass.
Yes.
So you get
Good. I
much
thought you
better
were going to be
mid-bass
one of
up
those
front.
guys. It's like, oh, it's not round, it's not good.
You know, it doesn't matter the shape. It's
Yeah.
a piston. It just has to move air.
Well, plus it's mid bass. I
Yeah.
mean, and it's in a door. It's behind a grill. It's facing the wrong direction. It's down low. I'm not whining and cheesing these things. We're driving down the road doing 60 miles an hour. What we want is mid bass.
Yep.
So
And you just don't get as much of that in a 6.5.
and see, that's why I want that 6x9
Yeah.
component for that particular vehicle.
I didn't know the rubber has a CBR 15. That's nice.
4.25 cubic foot. I bet that plays low and smooth. I like
Yes.
big enclosures for the speakers. I like the deep, smooth bass.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, like we were talking about that Jeep Wrangler, I'll have to show you a picture of it. It was literally the whole back of the car, and it was all box for
Nice.
for an 18. And so what I had to do is he needed a battery. So the box is this deep, this, and then the corner of it was taken out for the battery, and that's where the port went. so I could put in an L port, the shape of the battery.
Nice.
It was stupid.
Yeah, but hey, it's
Yeah.
fun. It's different.
Yeah.
With car audio, I mean, be creative. I mean, you don't want to do the same thing. That's like I have my own business on the side where I actually do installs at home.
Really?
It keeps me, focused with stuff, and I always tell people if you pay for custom work, you should get custom work. I'll never do the same thing twice.
Yeah, that was.
But in a retail environment, you don't always have that option.
No. When I was doing that, that's what it was. Nowadays, thank God I don't have to. As you notice, we have no wood.
Robert, I can believe that's flat down to 10 hertz.
Sean, say, what music do you listen to?
Oh, good question.
What do I?
Yes. What kind of?
Anything that sounds good.
Anything but.
Well,
Actually-
opera. I don't do opera.
No, you get okay. So
No opera.
I'm gonna lead the witness here a little bit because you said something when we were doing the training that
I was not ready to get into that. I bet I know where you're going.
that I thought was great because when you were talking about listening to music, tuning into car and with that,
Yep.
you recommended using country music.
Absolutely.
And for the one, and I'm sitting over there going, I know what he's going to say next. I know, and he goes, because they're the only people that still use instruments.
Yep, and real recording studios.
Yeah, and I was like,
Your ears know what natural sound is. They know if it's processed, so I always use country music to tune for sound quality.
Hey, Dave.
it's Dave from the Kip and Dave show. What's up, Dave?
Does this mean I have to watch your show now? Oh, I do. But yeah, like I say, I'll tune it with all the necessary test equipment.
Yep.
For setting gains and setting levels
Yep.
and flattening out frequency response. But for just pure enjoyment and listening to it, I put in newer country music.
Yeah.
Alan Jackson, Shania Twain,
Okay,
Trisha
okay,
Yearwood.
90s.
See,
90s.
I'm still old.
I was gonna say,
That was still good
when he
recording.
said newer, I was like, this is gonna go to the wall real
Yep, this
quick.
is gonna go bad. I just showed
Yeah.
my age again.
90s country's music.
Yes.
Yeah. That's classic
That was
country.
good.
Don't feel bad. That's all the country I own too. Is from the 90s. Anything past it, I have no idea
Me
what it
either.
is. They listen to that stuff. We'll get in the car and they'll start singing. I'll be like, oh, it's Bart. What's up, Bart?
Got both kinds of music, country and
Country
western.
and Western. That would be the Blues Brothers.
Yep, that was another old 80s movie.
And she's going to go, oh, God. I say that all the time.
It's one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah. And they totally killed that. Garth Brooks' Thunder Rolls does sound good. Yes, it does. I tuned to
He's from
Taylor
Stillwater,
Swift.
by the way.
What's that?
Garth Brooks was in Stillwater.
Was he?
Yep. He went to school at OSU.
Really?
In fact, that's where he met his now ex-wife.
He wrote a lot of good songs about her.
He met her in the women's bathroom at the Tumbleweeds bar.
What was he doing in the women's bathroom?
He was a bouncer and he was breaking up a fight. So little history on Garth Brooks.
There you go. Something
Hey,
else
Bart.
that came out of there. Bart would like to
Hi,
know what's
Leroy.
happening. This.
Yeah.
Johnny, what's the maximum distance between the crossover and the tweeter?
As small as possible.
And we never stick to that.
Yeah. Here again, there's not enough loss in wire that you're really going to notice difference if the crossover's in the back or if they're in the front.
I met him walking in at 4 a.m. in Dublin. Okay.
I can vaguely remember those days. But yeah, and the other question that kind of lead into that, that what's the maximum distance between a mid and a tweeter? You want them absolutely as close as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people put the mids in the bottom there and the tweeters up in the headliner, and it's so unnatural sounding because all your highs are up here and all your vocals are down here. So keep your speakers as close together as possible for good sound.
Yeah. Well, now, yeah. I was gonna say it's becoming a lot easier now
With
all
time
the-
alignment,
with
yeah.
the time alignment, it's making things way easier. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Ah, Darren, that's a soft. That's a bad one. What's better, high level or low level? Always love when he explains that. That's lead. That's
Do
a
we
yeah.
have
No,
enough
we're
time?
not. We're not even gonna go into that
We'll
because
just answer it quickly.
Okay.
High level. Is that quick and easy?
yeah, I'm gonna say no, but yeah, I know why, but I'm still gonna say no. Caveat on that. I get where you guys are going with that, and I understand it, and I've read all your text things. I just know from experience in these radios, I would still do low level out of an aftermarket radio, whether it's got the voltage or not, just because when we've done it, it sucks the other way.
We've had really good luck with it.
Yeah, we haven't. Now, out of The head unit, yeah, cool. We'll do it that way, unless we can get an Amp Pro, in which case, you know.
And
saving
I have
the
those
grade.
in one of my vehicles.
Amp Pro?
Yep.
Oh, the best.
Yep, and sometimes it's a necessity.
Oh, it's definitely what's time alignment. Time alignment is what you do with a clock, man. We
What's
had to
time
line
alignment?
one clock with the other clock
Oklahoma
today.
with Florida, and we're still out an hour.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. Poor Bart's dealing with snow.
Yeah.
Bummer. Pizza or hot dogs? Pizza or hamburgers? What do we like?
I'm a pizza guy.
You're a pizza guy? Okay. Yep.
I never turned out a hamburger.
Tangent?
Yeah, so we can do that. It's my show. Guys, we introduced our new Kicker key amp in 2006 ranks the bass system. The little amp made an amazing difference. The only issue is the volume will randomly turn up itself. Does this listening system? It sounds like it's the
Speed
resistors.
compensation, possibly.
Well, the base model shouldn't have. Okay, the base model could have speed compensation built in the deck, or it could also be the resistance. It could be the resistance doing goofy things. So
With the factory radio.
With the factory radio, some of those 16s you do need
Yep.
to add resistors to.
16s, 17s, and 18s.
Yeah.
They're getting very specific
So-
now.
Sean say, did you treat your Mustang? Like sound treatment?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Lori.
I have over
Come on
3
over here for a
boxes
minute.
of the bulk pack of Hush
Bart
Metal.
wants to see
Okay.
if you're here.
So over
He wants to- he's
120
checking
pounds.
you.
I in
Sure?
my opinion,
Okay.
you can never put too much sound treatment in a vehicle.
I chimed in.
Perfect.
Oh, sound treatment?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why I don't say that, sound treatment. That sounds much better. We gotta say
Sound
that,
treatment.
because we have a
More
couple...
politically
Yes.
neutral. when
Yeah,
you say
because
it.
Yeah.
when you say dampening or
Sound
just
technique.
it totally goes off the
Yeah.
rails. How do I get hold of a system in my? Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you do stuff, and then you move stuff around, and you do that. Dude, really got to get her on the camera. She was on your show, but she definitely wasn't coming on this
I thought
one.
she was going to be on here, Bart.
Any chance of bringing back the CVR or the CVX 18s?
CBX.
What's that?
Never had a CVX 18,
Well, he might have been talking about the other monster.
CVR.
Yeah, CVR.
CVR.
The
Actually,
L715 has the moving mass and
and cone area.
version of an 18.
It's not an 18 though.
I know.
It's not an 18.
You know,
okay.
if we could get numbers to justify the production, you know.
Well, that's always what it comes down
Yeah.
to. It's a spreadsheet.
and that's why
Spreadsheets
they
rule
went
the
away,
world.
because
Yeah.
cars got smaller and people stopped doing huge bass. So
We've done
we
118.
listen to what goes on.
Bart deal, spill deal. Tell
The
us what's
beans.
secrets. It's
That's
never gonna
secrets.
happen. Yeah, spill the beans. All right, so thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
This has been great.
Got me out of Oklahoma today.
That's a win either way you look at it.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. As always, thank you for coming on the show. Lori, pop in, say hi.
Come-
Keep
come-
coming.
come on.
Keep coming.
There's Lori.
There's
Are
Lori.
you happy now, Bart?
Yep. All right. You can write the rest of the.
And she looks
You
better
can
than I
expense
do,
the
so.
trip now. So, to find tools that we use, please go to DNF Tool Drawer. Of course, like we said, we're going to update that. We have, we're going to do the top 10 cool things that you should buy. Your Stereo Fanatic.
Signed.
Look for that coming up here shortly. Hello from soccer practice. What's up,
Yeah.
buddy? You want to say hi, Haley?
Hey.
Okay, there you go. That's all you get. So, Patreon is the place. If you guys want to support the show, you can go to Patreon and you can get a podcast, video version of it.
Yep.
That's what you guys get for being a Patreon member. You get the video version of the podcast. For all the other guys, you can find podcasts on Teespring. You can find podcasts on iTunes, Podbeam, and the Google Play Store. You guys get it a week later and you don't get a video version of it, but you still listen to the podcast.
Yep.
Teespring is the place. Teespring/store/5 stars is the place where you can get 5-star shirts. And of course, ooh, baby. And of course, check out the GoFundMe /12V-4-A-cause. Donate. And I will say, go over $20 because there's a reason for it. And we'll talk more about that in a later show this week. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely.
Thank the Peanut Gallery over there.
Mopar Dwayne says you're hot, by the way.
Moving on. You guys have a wonderful night. As always, we'll see you guys back here Saturday for the YouTube live show. And I'm sorry you guys
Thank
didn't
you,
get a
Scott.
video this morning. That's Haley's fault because we put up Christmas decorations.
It's Christmas.
That's right. All right, guys, and if you don't know what that is, you should go back and watch The Boring Life of Dean and Haley, and you'll find out all about Christmas. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you guys Saturday.